on the 6th of June in 1996. So I called my mom about a week before to plan for her to come, so just to do the final arrangements when she was going to arrive for my graduation. And she said, Hafsat, you'll be so impressed with me. I have all the tapes of the marches I've organized and interviews I've given. I'm bringing them to show you. You'll be so proud of your mom. And I said to her, but Mommy, I've always been proud of you. And I wanted her to know that even when she was a housewife, I've been proud. I didn't need her to become like some national leader for me to be proud and know that what I had was something good in my mother. And I'm glad I told her that, because I know she's always been concerned that we didn't value her as highly as we might have valued our father, because she was always around. But a few days after that phone call, on the day she was supposed to leave the country, the military decided that it wasn't advisable to have her leave the country, that she had become too much of a threat, and if she went outside the country, she would organize in the United States against the military rule. So they ambushed her car and assassinated her in my capital city, in Lagos, in the commercial capital. And so when she died, I decided that I wanted to do something, but I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And this is really the part that is pertinent for you, because really, I know that it now looks like I do a lot. But when I was about 13, the only thing that was on my mind was how to make myself beautiful so that some guy would be interested in me. I had brothers, so it meant that there was a steady supply of men into the household. There were boys that came to visit my brothers. My brothers were very popular, and some were older than me. So it meant that I could get, there were ways for the most popular guys to see me. So how do I make myself, attractive? And I used to, I don't know if do you know about this thing called shoulder pads? Yeah. Yeah, there were shoulder pads. Now, it was unfortunate that I was very skinny. And in Nigeria, that's a big no. Capital letters, no. It's better to be voluptuous, to be shapely. And unfortunately, as much as I was eating, I was asthmatic. I was not getting full, So I would take shoulder pads and stuff them where my breasts were supposed to be. No, I'm telling you, this is true. I would stop them before my brother's friends came. And it was difficult sometimes because I would have taken the shoulder pads out and I had not been careful about how I keep the shoulder pads. So sometimes there was one shoulder pad that was very big on one breast, and then the other one wasn't as big. And my brothers were so embarrassed, but they didn't want to hurt my feelings, so they didn't say anything. And then I was hoping for invitation cards to parties, and then also worried that if I did get invited, what would I wear? These were my concerns. I wasn't really into all this national issues or democracy in Nigeria. I wasn't really interested in all that at all. And I was also looking for ways to get my father to allow me to go, because my mom was very strict for whatever reason. I wanted to go out. I wanted to go to parties, and I was learning dance steps in front of a mirror. This was my life. And I went to university I went to high school in the US. And even there, I was struggling, because when I got to the US, I'd been in a track team in Nigeria, which meant that on the days of competitions, you just go out and run. When I get to high school here, in the last 2 years, I was here for 11th and 12th grade, and they would tell me I have to practice, which meant running like 5 miles when I'm a short distance runner. It made no sense. I'm like, what am I running to? What is the purpose of this? I just saw these American kids just running around this track. And I'm like, but what? Where are we going? Are we going to get something? No, we are practicing. It was really deeply frustrating to be here, because it was just not, and again, you have to remember, I'm supposed to be voluptuous. These crazy people are making me run 5 miles. Now, the 5 miles is making me skinny, and it's also giving me something on the back of my leg that makes me look like a man. This was not on. I was really struggling. I was really in a place of struggle at this time in my own personal life. And then I went to university, and it really didn't get better, because I was surrounded by crazy people. I had been growing up in Nigeria, where they're very normal people. Girls are just getting ready to get married, and so we try to speak in a pleasing voice. We try to declare that we don't know anything, and we're ready to be written upon by a good man who will provide for the family. All of these things, and were going on. And And anytime I got it wrong, my father would correct me. Like the time when I told my dad that I wanted to become a diplomat and I wanted to go to Georgetown School of Foreign Service. And my father said, Hafsat, but what kind of man will you marry gallivanting around the world? Of course, that became a no. And so I never went to Georgetown. And so every time I was kept in line. But when my mom was killed, I wanted to do something. And I was thinking what to do. In fact, I didn't think there was anything somebody like me could do. But one day I was walking, because I had taken classes over the summer in school, and I was walking past Widener Library. I don't know if you know Widener Library. It's at Harvard University, and it's one of the biggest libraries in the world. It's a beautiful big building, and there's a pathway that comes like diagonally towards Widener, and then comes around to other places. And blocking the pathway were some of the crazy people I was telling you about at the university campus. They had a long table, and you could know them because of the way they looked. They had long hair up to their hips, and then some of them, as I noticed, some of you here had earrings, but not in their ear roll. It was in other places on their face. So you could already see that there was a problem. And then some of them that didn't have their hair long, like the 60s love children, had their hair spiked and in different colors. So I was looking at these people and I was thinking, how are you going to avoid these people? You know, I was thinking about to escape. And so I was going to curve around their table so that I wouldn't be rude, because of course it's important not to be insolent. And I was going to curve and find a way to escape without them, stopping me to sign their petition. I could just imagine what it was, the right to walk bare feet on campus, or something that they think is important. But in my mind, I knew what was important. I knew what was going on in Nigeria. My father was in jail. People were being killed. This is what is important. And Americans don't care. That's what was going on in my mind. And then these two people from the table walked around. I think they saw that I was trying to avoid them. So they came around and stopped me. Because those kinds of people are often very, how do you say, what is the word for that? Pushy, yes. Yes. So they stopped me. And they said, we're getting signatures for a petition. There's an elected president in jail in Nigeria, and we're trying to get him released. And they're working for a group called Amnesty International. And, I don't think they expected it, but as they said that, I just started crying. Because I couldn't believe, it was just the most coincidental thing that could have ever happened. I couldn't believe that. And I said to them, do you know you're speaking about my father? And they didn't even know. They didn't know anything about Nigeria. They just gotten something from Amnesty that said this man was in jail, and Amnesty does this political prisoners of conscience campaign, and they made my father one of their prisoners of conscience. So they were trying to get signatures for him. So they said to me, why don't you come and speak to our group? And really, that was how my work started.